Have you ever found yourself wide awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, staring at the ceiling, wondering why your body decided now was the perfect time to start the day? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. I first noticed it with my dad a few years after he retired. He used to be such a sound sleeper, but suddenly he'd wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes 2:30, sometimes right at 3 a.m., and just lie there thinking. At first, we all brushed it off as just getting older, but over time, I realized something deeper was going on. In this video, we're going to talk about why that early morning wake-up call is so common among older adults. And no, it's not just about drinking too much water before bed. From changes in your daily rhythm, to what's happening in your bedroom environment, and even the hidden emotions that keep your mind turning long after your body wants rest. There's more to this than meets the eye. We'll walk through 5 real, meaningful reasons this might be happening. Some of them might surprise you. Others, you might have felt yourself, but never had the words to explain. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's talk about those quiet early hours. If any of this rings true for you, or reminds you of someone you love, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you find this helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this one. Your next peaceful night might be just a video away. 5. How daily routines change as we age. It usually starts gradually. Maybe you notice you're not as hungry in the evenings, so you begin eating dinner a bit earlier. Then one night, instead of catching the 10 o'clock news, you find yourself yawning at 8:30 and deciding to head to bed. Before long, it becomes a routine. Dinner at 5:30, lights out by 9. And without realizing it, you're waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning, long before the rest of the world stirs. You sit there, staring at the ceiling, wondering, why am I up so early these days? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many older adults notice a shift in their daily rhythm as the years go by. It might feel like your body has changed the rules without asking, but the truth is, it kind of has. Our bodies operate on something called a circadian rhythm, an internal 24-hour clock that tells us when to eat, sleep, and wake. When we're younger, this clock is tightly tuned. We stay up late, sleeping when we can, and power through busy schedules. But as we age, the rhythm starts to shift. Scientists refer to this as a phase advance, meaning your natural sleep and wake times start moving earlier. It's not just about when you go to bed, though. Your body's ability to produce melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate sleep, also decreases with age. Melatonin levels typically rise in the evening and fall in the morning, signaling bedtime and wake-up time. As production declines, it can become harder to stay asleep throughout the night or to sleep in past dawn. But here's the thing. It's not necessarily a problem. It's a pattern that has been observed across cultures and generations. In fact, long before electricity, many communities functioned around the natural rise and fall of the sun. People woke with the light, worked through the day, and rested after dark. In a way, this early waking might be your body returning to a more natural rhythm. Take my neighbor, Jack. He's 78 now, retired from decades of teaching high school history. When he first stopped working, he was excited to finally sleep in, but instead, he started waking up at 4 a.m. sharp. At first, it drove him nuts. I was up before the birds, he joked, but eventually, he stopped fighting it. Now he uses that time to read, stretch, or write in his journal. It's the quietest part of my day, he says, and it's become my favorite. That early morning calm can be a blessing in disguise. While the rest of the world sleeps, you have a rare pocket of time that belongs entirely to you. No phone calls, no appointments, no errands. Just stillness. For some, it's a perfect time for meditation, reflection, or simply enjoying a cup of tea as the first light begins to show. But that doesn't mean early waking is always easy. If it leaves you feeling groggy during the day or tossing and turning in frustration at night, it might be worth re-examining your sleep routine. The National Institute on Aging suggests a few simple habits that can help improve sleep quality, like limiting naps, avoiding caffeine in the afternoon, and getting some sunlight during the day. Regular light exposure, especially in the morning, helps reinforce the body's natural rhythm. Exercise also plays a role. Just be sure to finish any workouts a few hours before bedtime to give your body time to wind down. Another important factor, letting go of the idea that sleep must look a certain way. We often carry expectations from our younger years, 8 hours straight, undisturbed. But sleep in older adulthood often becomes lighter and more segmented. That doesn't mean it's not restorative. What matters more is how you feel during the day. If you're alert, active, and content, your sleep may be just fine, even if it doesn't fit the traditional mold. Some anthropologists even suggest that segmented sleep, 2 or more stretches of sleep separated by a period of quiet wakefulness, was the norm in pre-industrial societies. People would sleep for a few hours after sunset, wake in the early hours to think, pray, or talk quietly, then return to bed until dawn. In that light, your 3 a.m. wake-up might not be strange at all. It might be an echo of human history. And finally, there's something to be said about acceptance. Aging brings change. It always has, always will. But change doesn't mean loss. Sometimes it means you gain new hours of quiet in the morning, a new rhythm to your day, or a chance to approach life more gently. Waking early may simply be your body's way of telling you, you've rested enough. It's a new day, so next time you find yourself waking up before the sun, don't reach for frustration. Reach for the moment. Whether it's a warm drink, a quiet breath, or a memory that floats up with the silence, those hours are yours. And maybe, just maybe, that's something beautiful. 4. An uncomfortable sleep environment. It might not be the first thing you think of when you're lying awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, but your bedroom could be telling your body it's not time to sleep. As we age, our sensitivity to our environment increases. A draft from a window, a distant car horn, or even the dim glow of a street light through the curtains can be enough to pull us out of sleep and keep us out. I remember talking with my friend Marlene, who's in her mid-70s. She used to sleep soundly through the night, but lately she told me, I keep waking up around 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I just toss and turn. I thought it was just me getting old. But when we talked more, she mentioned that her husband liked to fall asleep with the TV on, and that their bedroom window faced a streetlight. Her room wasn't quiet or dark, and her body knew it. Older adults, like Marlene, often develop lighter sleep. According to sleep researchers, this is partially because the amount of time we spend in deep sleep, slow-wave sleep, decreases with age. That means we're more likely to be stirred by small disruptions. What might have been an ignorable noise at 30 becomes a full-on wake-up call at 70. But it's not just sound. Light plays a big role, too. Our eyes, even closed, can detect changes in light, and those signals travel to the brain to influence our sleep-wake cycle. Light exposure at night, especially blue light from electronics, can suppress melatonin, the hormone that signals sleep, making it harder to stay asleep. That little LED light from a power strip or the faint glow from the bathroom nightlight may not seem like much, but to your aging brain, it's enough to disturb the peace. Temperature is another silent culprit. Our bodies naturally lower in temperature when we sleep, and if the room is too warm or too cold, it can cause us to wake up. As we age, our internal thermostat doesn't regulate temperature as efficiently. What felt fine when we were younger might now feel unbearable. A slight chill or a sudden heat wave under the blankets might jolt you awake and leave you struggling to get comfortable again. Humidity is less talked about, but just as important. Dry air can irritate the throat or nasal passages, especially if you're already dealing with age-related conditions like sleep apnea or chronic sinus issues. On the flip side, too much humidity can make a room feel stuffy and heavy. Both situations can lead to fragmented sleep and those frustrating early morning wake-ups. And then there's noise. Even in seemingly quiet neighborhoods, there's always something: an early garbage truck, a neighbor's car, the occasional barking dog. For someone in their 70s or 80s, these sounds aren't just background noise. They're disturbances. Our auditory systems don't tune out quite the way they used to, which means even small noises can trigger full wakefulness. What can help? Sometimes, simple changes make a big difference. Blackout curtains, for example, can block out that sneaky streetlight glow. A white noise machine or soft fan can mask irregular outdoor noises, creating a consistent sound environment that helps the brain stay in sleep mode. Investing in a mattress that supports your current comfort needs, softer or firmer depending on your body, can also help minimize the tossing and turning that leads to wakefulness. I knew an older couple who swore by their routine of adjusting the thermostat to 65 degrees Fahrenheit every night and using layer blankets to control their individual comfort. It sounds silly, the husband once said, but finding the right temperature was like finding a secret recipe for sleep. Another friend, Nora, told me that switching to warm amber night lights instead of her regular hallway lighting changed her entire nighttime experience. "I don't feel startled if I get up to use the bathroom," she said. "The light is gentle. It doesn't wake me up fully." There's a growing body of research supporting the idea that a sleep sanctuary, a space dedicated solely to rest, with minimal light, noise, and distractions, can significantly improve sleep quality for older adults. The National Sleep Foundation emphasizes this, recommending that bedrooms be quiet, dark, and comfortably cool to promote healthy sleep at any age. But perhaps the most important part of improving your sleep environment is paying attention. Notice what your body is telling you. Are you waking up sweating? Does the sound of a car door pull you out of a dream? Is the air in your room too dry or too damp? These small discomforts build up and can be mistaken for just getting older, when really, they're signals you can respond to. You don't need to remodel your home. A few thoughtful adjustments, repositioning the bed away from windows, adding heavier curtains, experimenting with sleep masks or earplugs, can go a long way. Consider making your bedroom a place that truly welcomes rest. A place where, when you do wake up at 3 a.m., it's not because of an irritating draft or a buzzing streetlight, but maybe just a passing dream. And if you do wake up early, that's okay. But wouldn't it be nice to know that the reason wasn't a creaky floorboard or a glowing alarm clock? That it was simply your body saying, "I'm ready for the day," and not a whisper from an uncomfortable room. 3. Decreased melatonin, the sleep hormone. As we age, our bodies go through many changes. We may notice some of them happening gradually, almost imperceptibly, while others, like waking up at 3 a.m., seem to appear out of nowhere. For many older adults, these early wake-ups are often linked to a reduction in melatonin, a hormone that plays a crucial role in regulating our sleep cycles. It's an important factor that could explain why sleep changes so much as we get older. Melatonin is naturally produced by the brain, specifically by the pineal gland, in response to darkness. It helps us fall asleep and stay asleep by signaling to the body that it's time to rest. If you think back to when you were younger, you probably had no problem falling asleep after a long day. Your body was producing plenty of melatonin to guide you into deep, restful slumber. But as we age, something changes. The production of melatonin decreases, and this can have a profound effect on our sleep patterns. Take my neighbor, Tom, for example. He's in his early 70s, and he's always been a heavy sleeper. But recently, he noticed that he was waking up much earlier than usual, around 3 a.m., even though he went to bed at the same time. He mentioned to me one morning that he just couldn't fall back asleep after waking up so early, and it left him feeling exhausted the next day. After chatting for a while, it became clear that he wasn't getting the same quality of sleep he used to, and melatonin deficiency was likely the culprit. Research has shown that, on average, melatonin levels begin to decline after the age of 30. And by the time we reach our 60s and 70s, melatonin production can be reduced by as much as 50% or more. This means that older adults are often left with insufficient amounts of melatonin to maintain a deep, uninterrupted sleep cycle. Instead, they experience lighter, more fragmented sleep, which can cause them to wake up during the night, or in Tom's case, far too early in the morning. It's not just the quantity of sleep that's affected, but the quality as well. Melatonin influences the transition between light and deep sleep, which is where the restorative benefits happen. With less melatonin, the body struggles to enter the deeper stages of sleep, which are vital for physical recovery and mental rejuvenation. If you found yourself waking up at 3 a.m., it's possible that your melatonin levels have dipped, leaving you unable to stay in the deeper stages of sleep that are so important for both the body and mind. But why does this happen? Why do melatonin levels decrease as we age? Well, part of the reason is simply biological. The pineal gland's ability to produce melatonin slows down as we get older. This process is part of the natural aging mechanism, but can be influenced by lifestyle factors such as stress, diet, and even exposure to light at night. Light pollution, like the blue light emitted by televisions, phones, and computers, has been shown to inhibit melatonin production by interfering with our natural circadian rhythms. So, if you're someone who uses electronics before bed, it's worth considering how they might be affecting your ability to fall and stay asleep. Another aspect of melatonin's role in sleep is its relationship with circadian rhythms, which are the body's internal clocks that regulate when we feel awake and when we feel sleepy. As melatonin levels drop, it can disrupt this natural rhythm, leading to sleep disturbances. This could explain why many older adults experience the familiar pattern of waking up in the middle of the night, or like Tom, waking up far too early in the morning. Luckily, there are ways to manage the effects of melatonin deficiency and improve sleep quality. A few lifestyle changes can help boost your body's ability to produce melatonin naturally. For instance, limiting screen time at least an hour before bed can help. It's a simple change, but it can make a big difference. Instead of scrolling through your phone or watching TV right up until bedtime, try reading a book, taking a warm bath, or practicing some light stretching. These calming activities can help your body relax and prepare for sleep without interfering with melatonin production. Creating a sleep-friendly environment is also key. Try to keep your bedroom as dark as possible during the night. Blackout curtains can help block out light from outside, and if necessary, a sleep mask can work wonders. Additionally, keeping a consistent sleep schedule is one of the best things you can do to support your circadian rhythm. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends, helps your body align with its natural sleep cycle, making it easier to fall asleep and stay asleep throughout the night. In some cases, melatonin supplements can also be a helpful option. Tom, after speaking with his doctor, decided to try melatonin supplements to help with his early wake-ups. After a few weeks, he reported feeling more rested and was able to sleep through the night more often. However, it's important to consult a healthcare provider before starting any supplements, as they can interact with other medications or health conditions. Despite the challenges that melatonin deficiency presents, there are many ways to manage and improve sleep quality. With the right adjustments, you can reclaim the peaceful, restorative sleep that's so vital to health and well-being, even as melatonin levels decline with age. For now, Tom's doing much better. He still wakes up at 3 a.m. occasionally, but he's learned to relax and go back to sleep, knowing that his body is trying to find balance. As he continues to focus on his sleep environment and habits, he's feeling more rested and more energized throughout the day. 2. Impact of chronic health conditions. As we grow older, we become more familiar with the physical challenges that come with age. For many of us, chronic health conditions become a part of daily life, and they can have a significant impact on sleep. If you've noticed that you're waking up in the middle of the night or struggling to fall asleep in the first place, the root cause may be something deeper than just aging. Chronic conditions like arthritis, heart disease, gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, or respiratory issues may be to blame. These conditions often become more pronounced at night, disrupting the body's ability to relax and enter deep, restorative sleep. Take my good friend Helen, for example. She's in her late 70s and has always been very active. But a few years ago, she started experiencing joint pain, specifically in her knees and hips. What began as occasional stiffness turned into a persistent ache that worsened as the day went on. Helen told me one evening, "I used to sleep like a baby, but now it's like my bones are waking me up in the middle of the night. I toss and turn for hours before I can finally fall back asleep." Her experience is not uncommon. For older adults dealing with osteoarthritis, the pain and discomfort can be especially noticeable at night when the body is at rest and not distracted by daily activities. As the pain becomes more intense, it can lead to frequent awakenings, making it difficult to maintain continuous sleep. In Helen's case, she eventually sought treatment from her doctor, who explained that chronic pain, whether from arthritis or another condition, often feels more pronounced at night because of the body's natural decrease in anti-inflammatory hormones during sleep. This allows the pain to become more noticeable when we're not moving around, as it's not being masked by activity. The discomfort makes it harder for the body to relax, so when you do fall asleep, it's often shallow or interrupted. Another condition that disrupts sleep for many older adults is nocturia, the frequent need to urinate at night. As we age, the bladder's ability to hold urine tends to diminish, leading to more trips to the bathroom, often several times throughout the night. I remember hearing from my neighbor, Frank, who is in his early 80s, that he wakes up at least twice a night to use the bathroom. I know it's just part of getting older, but it feels like I've been waking up more and more. I can't seem to get through the night without waking up at least once or twice. Like Frank, many older adults find that nocturia becomes a disruptive issue, interrupting their sleep cycle and making it harder to get the rest they need. In addition to joint pain and nocturia, other chronic conditions such as heart disease and GERD can also play a significant role in sleep disruptions. Individuals with heart disease may experience discomfort or shortness of breath while lying down, making it difficult to find a comfortable position for sleep. Similarly, GERD or acid reflux tends to worsen at night. When we lie flat, stomach acid can move up into the esophagus, causing discomfort and even pain, which disrupts sleep. The constant tossing and turning, trying to find a position that alleviates the discomfort, is enough to keep anyone awake. For people with respiratory conditions like sleep apnea or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, breathing difficulties during sleep can also be a significant source of disruption. Sleep apnea causes periods where a person stops breathing momentarily during sleep, leading to frequent awakenings and a reduction in sleep quality. Similarly, those with COPD may struggle to breathe deeply during sleep, which can lead to restlessness and nighttime awakenings. The cycle is a tough one to break. Chronic health conditions lead to sleep disturbances, and poor sleep can worsen symptoms. It's a vicious cycle that can affect physical health, mental clarity, and overall well-being. Lack of restorative sleep can lead to increased pain sensitivity, impaired cognitive function, and a reduced ability to cope with the stress that comes with managing chronic conditions. Helen, Frank, and countless others are not alone in this struggle. Millions of older adults face similar challenges each night. But there's hope. While chronic conditions can make sleep harder to achieve, there are strategies to manage both the conditions and their effects on sleep. For pain-related issues like arthritis, physical therapy, regular exercise, and pain management techniques, such as heating pads or medications, can help alleviate discomfort. I've seen firsthand how gentle stretching exercises and warm baths before bed can make a significant difference in reducing pain and helping with sleep. For those dealing with nocturia, reducing fluid intake before bedtime and ensuring that the bathroom is easily accessible during the night can help minimize sleep disruptions. A good rule of thumb is to avoid drinking large quantities of liquids in the 2 hours before going to bed. For heart disease, GERD, and respiratory issues, seeking proper treatment and management strategies is key. For instance, elevating the head of the bed can help with GERD, and using a CPAP machine or similar devices can greatly improve sleep for those with sleep apnea or respiratory issues. Frank, who uses a CPAP machine, shared that it has been life-changing for him. It took a while to get used to, but now I sleep through the night without waking up gasping for air. Finally, it's essential to work with a healthcare provider to address these chronic conditions effectively. With the right medications, treatments, and lifestyle adjustments, it's possible to improve both sleep quality and overall health. Helen has found that by managing her pain with physical therapy, using supportive pillows to help her sleep comfortably, and practicing mindfulness before bed, she's been able to get better rest. It's not perfect every night, but she now sleeps for longer stretches without waking up in discomfort. Sleep doesn't have to be a distant memory in later years. With a little attention to our chronic health conditions and how they affect sleep, we can find ways to improve our nightly rest, manage our health, and wake up feeling more refreshed. 1. Worry, stress, and an overactive mind. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and the house is completely still. No passing cars outside, no birds chirping yet. Just the soft hum of the refrigerator and the rhythmic ticking of the clock. And yet, despite the quiet, you're wide awake. Again, this has happened to my friend Linda more times than she can count. She's in her early 70s, retired from teaching, and lives alone since her husband passed away. She usually heads to bed around 9:30, reads for a bit, then drifts off into sleep without much trouble. But like clockwork, her eyes pop open sometime around 3 a.m., and suddenly, her mind starts running like it's the middle of the day. At first, I thought it was just age, she once told me over coffee. But then I noticed it wasn't my back or my bladder waking me up. It was my brain. Linda's experience isn't unusual. As we age, it's easy to assume that waking up in the middle of the night is just part of getting older. But often, it's not just biology. It's the quiet storm of worry, stress, and memories that stir beneath the surface. And in that deep silence of the early morning, they come rushing in. Many older adults carry a quiet burden of emotional weight that's not always visible on the outside. While the body may slow down with age, the mind can remain sharp and sometimes too active for its own good. Thoughts about children and grandchildren, past regrets, financial concerns, health issues, or even just memories of times gone by can creep in once the lights are out. And when the distractions of the day disappear, the mind takes center stage. There's actually a scientific explanation for this. During the night, especially in the second half of the sleep cycle, REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, becomes more dominant. This is the phase where we dream more vividly, and it's closely connected to emotional processing. If you're carrying emotional baggage, grief, anxiety, or even mild depression, your brain may become more active during this phase, nudging you toward wakefulness. And if your sleep is already light due to age-related changes, that gentle nudge can turn into a full awakening. Linda described how her thoughts tend to spiral. I'll start thinking about my daughter. She's going through a divorce. And then I wonder if the kids are okay, and suddenly I'm back in 1987 remembering when she broke her arm on the monkey bars. One thought leads to another, and before she knows it, she's completely alert, unable to fall back asleep. Loneliness also plays a powerful role. Many older adults live alone or have lost close friends or partners over the years. In the daytime, loneliness can be masked by routines, errands, or phone calls. But at night, when everything slows down, that quiet space can feel heavy. The mind often fills that silence with memories, some comforting, others bittersweet. Researchers have found that stress hormones, particularly cortisol, can remain elevated in people who experience chronic worry or anxiety. While cortisol is normally supposed to dip at night to allow deep rest, for some people, especially those under emotional strain, cortisol levels don't drop the way they should. That can make it harder to stay asleep or return to sleep after waking. Linda tried a few strategies to calm her nighttime mind. Journaling before bed helped a bit. Just a simple notebook where she wrote down what was on her mind, with no pressure to solve anything. Sometimes I'd write 3 pages about how worried I was about my grandson's grades, she laughed, and somehow, just putting it down helped me not carry it into sleep. She also began listening to guided meditations or calming music, things that helped redirect her focus away from racing thoughts. Talking to someone made the biggest difference. For a while, Linda was resistant to the idea of therapy. "I'm not crazy," she'd say. But eventually, after one too many sleepless nights, she gave it a try. What she found wasn't judgment, but understanding. Therapy gave her space to unpack emotions she'd kept tucked away for decades. And by day, she became lighter, and by night, she started sleeping more soundly. It's important to remember that emotional health and sleep are deeply connected. Just as physical pain can wake you up, so can emotional unrest. And yet, unlike physical conditions, emotional causes of sleeplessness are often overlooked or brushed aside as just part of aging. But they aren't. If you find yourself lying awake at 3 a.m. with your mind spinning, know that you're not alone and that there are ways to find relief. Simple things like mindful breathing, keeping a regular bedtime routine, or even adjusting your bedroom environment to make it feel more calming can help. And if the worry persists, talking to a doctor or a counselor can offer real solutions. Sometimes, even short-term therapy or low-dose medication can break the cycle of nighttime anxiety. Linda still wakes up occasionally, but now she doesn't panic. She keeps a warm cup of herbal tea next to her bed, listens to the low murmur of a guided meditation, and tells herself gently, "It's just a thought. I'll come back to it tomorrow." Sleep isn't always simple in later life, but understanding why we wake up and recognizing that sometimes it's our own minds crying out for attention can help us approach those sleepless hours with more compassion and less frustration. Because sometimes the path to better sleep doesn't start with a new mattress or medication. It starts with letting go of what's weighing on the heart.